Hey guys, Boris here, bringing you another VOD review. For the players not preparing for the 4v4 EWC tournament, there is Project PB going in full swing, and therefore for today we're going to be jumping in game with Ryokomastery. We are now starting out with a Poppy pair and with a Rod. Since we have this Veigar, we have the option to be considering playing around that. And now in the Norb drop we got a Milio. Now, would have wanted to pick up that Veigar, but as we know, playing around 2 Timebreaker, playing around these Primordial Opens, or any kind of Arbiter that can generate you econ is the best strategy at the moment. As otherwise I've found myself as well that unless you're able to full streak, you simply tend to be lacking on the resource department. An interesting choice that was made here by him, this was to hold on to this Teemo pair. I'm not exactly sure, the Teemo hasn't been considered to be the strongest of the units unless you're able to really play around the Rageblade for him. And we have this dupe that could potentially lean us to play in some form of a reroll or trying to spike out in a tempo unit. But we are going on the prismatic augment that's going to wrap our game quite considerably. Wise spending is something that would be stronger in something like a gold start, and it's generally I would feel like it's better on something like a 3-2 if you're able to play around something like with some form of reroll that can either around 3 cost or 2 cost. Generally 3 costs seem to be better, as if you're roll a little bit, you're able to finish them on 8 as well. Comeback story is something great with particularly something like an anima reroll or Vanguard lines that can spike and utilize that attack speed, something like LeBlanc Vanguards. Vanguards love the HP and LeBlanc loves that attack speed. Otherwise our board at the moment is quite weak, and our item slams, if we consider, we would have Archangels or something like a Protector's Vow that we are not too excited for about in the stage 2, and we are weaker. Therefore upwards mobility seems to be a great best econ option presented to us right now. With a weak board, so you want to be generally taking econ options, and Pandora's items would be the reverse of that. You would want to be trying to slam this Radiant item as fast as you can to try to accelerate your item economy and play for a strong board. Therefore, considering between the comeback story and upwards mobility just seems to be a better option. Tactician's Kitchen would potentially provide us with a clear direction, but econ is going to be king, and we're going to be slotting in that 2 Timebreaker right away, right now. So we're pretty much committing to a loose streak plan, and quite well spotted here that we can be using the dupe on the Milio just simply to make the 10 gold here, and we're going to be locking our shop in order to pick up the Briar as well, to try to perhaps get the Primordial units back in for ourselves if we're able to find that Belveth. Trying to now just simply gauge, we can see that there are quite few weak players. That's also another thing that you can be considering. If you're in a good spot to tempo, whenever this meta is going to be live, as we had the branch cut, when there are players playing around these Timebreakers, these Primordial boards, until they have gotten their upgrades, and sometimes for Timebreakers you never really find them. Primordials are always able to sometimes print you for them, are going to be quite... you can punish them by playing around tempo. If you have strong units, you're able to secure top 4s by simply playing tempo, trying to make your econ through going through that streak, and then punish the players who are playing these weaker boards that are currently just taking advantage of the fact that we are not as good at developing the strongest boards in the game, as when set is obviously on PB and everyone's still trying to familiarize themselves with it and what makes a good board. Completing a 3 streak here, I managed to queue into some potential tempo players, but still have to keep the tabs on, as now we're going to most likely be trying to secure a 5 streak, and that also we have to take into account our god selection right now. Kale is generally some of her power budget is going to you to be enabling you to slam the items aggressively, being an item advantage throughout the stages of the game, not only for your final endgame board. Therefore that goes kind of against our plan, and the Thresh's 2 gold could actually be quite valuable at this point in the game. Therefore just going to be going with Thresh and picking up a 3 cost here. That probably doesn't matter, as we're most likely going to be selling it and trying to make our next econ threshold as soon as we can. Trying to scout around, we see that the most top players out there seem to be something like a Timebreaker player, and it seems that our boon was a 3 cost gold. Yeah, I believe that was just another 3 cost unit. So we are able to make 40 here just because of that. The luck has fallen in our favor, and we're simply just going to be continuously playing this weakest board. Hopefully maybe we can kill a unit, or in the best case 2, but nah, we're not able even to kill this Aatrox right now. That's naked Aatrox 1. So we're fully just loose streaking all our way. Now, have to be scouting around, you have to make your diligence. We see there's a hard commit Marauder player there, and this seems to be somewhere on a space group board, and we see that there's a timebreaker player as well. Now, he's just trying to secure his loose streak here. Didn't see, perhaps his read was one of those players was trying to open on him just to prevent the loose streak. However, they were in a higher HP spot, so I'm not sure. Generally, you have to watch out for the lower players there that also are contesting the 5 loss and have to position in some form of way to get your carries killed first. I'm just going to be leveling here in order to ensure that we're able to get through these Krugs, and going to be slamming the Sunfire Cape as well, get that anti-heal sorted, and just simply ensure that we have enough frontline presence for ourselves. The rest of our items are more signaling to be playing potentially into some form of an AP board, but now especially with this double rod and the tier. Can definitely be considering some form of AP board. I'm not exactly sure from this spot what the plan exactly would be. Now, definitely going to be playing either for fast 8 or fast 9 potential as well, and have slotted in anima here. A nice thing to note with anima is that if we quickly pull up here, now the trait works in a little bit different way that we are used to loose streak traits. The anima points are going to be calculated based on your loss streak, in a sense that right now he has the base one that's going to be ramping up from the number of losses you are on right away. So he's going to get 25 plus the base, which I believe just got buffed to 50, and it's already 15, 20, there we go. And now if I quickly show here, we have this loose table, and you can see at what point, if you are slotting in, at which stage do you slot in anima, what cash out you're going to be getting at which stage roughly. So now that we've slotted it on a 3-1, if we wanted to go for something like a 4-1 spike, most likely if we are going from a loss streak spot, we're going to be getting 300, as I don't think we can make our way to full loss for the 400. And at the anima trade, generally how we could consider it, we have the anima loot tables available for ourselves if we quickly just pull them up after our augment selection here, as we're most likely going to be loose streaking to the rest of the stage for our augment selection at the moment. Now, combat augments are not going to provide us that much value. They would be great if you're able to get there. Side effects, you have to be playing something around a gunblade build, I believe. I'm not exactly sure which units themselves are able to provide healing right now. Haven't figured out exactly board for this. Electro Charge has been considered quite good, especially in these Vanguard boards. But Invader Z is something that could guarantee us a wave to potentially spike coming up on 4-2. We're going to get this guaranteed 5 cost, and that's going to be another duo carry that we're able to get. Plus it provides an item that at this point we're going to get the econ. If we hit our units, the first thing we're going to do is itemize them. The items are generally going to be stronger than the team-wide combat augments. And obviously for your potential carries. But it seems that he's going to be getting on the stat side, trying to get the Z data. Generally, Z loves the Spear of Shojin and I would say GA, but now it's called Edge of Night. And just another Shojin generally is considered to be also quite good. And yeah, we do get the double Shojin if we wanted to right now. Slam that Rageblade there, which might consider potentially signaling to be playing either in some of a Wex carry or the standard LeBlanc type of board. And for our data at the moment, we can see that the Adaptive Helm is another potential item to be playing around for that Z. BT is also an okay acceptable option. But quickly checking our anima loot tables here, if we could just zoom in. Oh, that was the wrong button. There we go. If we do the anima loot tables, they are generally not providing that much econ as the others. Now, you are getting some econ around 500, which would be pretty much requiring the full loss, and you have some board stylization, but until then, you are only going to be getting some form of an item and a little bit of the anima unit. This is more playing into your rerolls, the 400, the 300 of attack potential, but you're always going to be guaranteed an item. Now, quickly just sort of rewind to what the god selection we picked. Again, aligning ourselves already with the Thresh, as again, the glove here already is going to be complete as something like the Jewel Gauntlet for ourselves, and these would be leaning more into tank components. We can just generally, if we are able to get to our carries, figure out whatever. And we get offered a Tom Kench now. That's also another way that we're going to be getting some resource inflation for ourselves, and that's going to be proccing in at 4-1, which is exactly the time we would want it for our roll down as well. No, well, 4-1 is going to count, so it's going to rock at 4-2, but generally going to align with our roll down timing. And we do get a Yasuo's Hex that seems to enemy the stun. That's actually one of the better ones for you can get for your carries. Simply put it on someone that's able to do a lot of board-wide damage, get those stuns out. And it definitely can be quite nasty if you already also have something like a Nunu for yourself. So, going to be trying to complete our loss streak here, and we haven't managed to kill that machinist, but we queue into this mech player that's going to be reduce our damage a little bit there. Not too interested in this 200 cash shot. It should be in quite safe position to secure the 300 right now. And obviously another way you generate tech, as we can see why we are on an even number right now, is that you get a couple of tech by just simply taking takedown. So we have killed, I believe, at the moment 2 units throughout the stage. But due to the healing what we get from upwards ability, we are still going to be ending up here on at least 2 lives for ourselves. Yeah, definitely 2 lives here, and should be in a good position to potentially send it here on 4-1. Since we are on 10 loss, this is the spot that we will have to be sending on 4-1. Therefore, going to be crashing out that item for ourselves. And already going to level 8. Now, are we perhaps considering going a level 9? We could just be pushing it here. Yeah, we're going to be leveling, going to level 9, going to be 20 gold, 20 raw gold is a little bit worse, and that's the thing you can note. Finding items can finally now also be reforged, so it just reforges into some form that seems to be a tank item. And going to be transitioning into this 5-cost board. Now this is that is the version how you would generally be playing a Z board. Now that is obviously what you would be arriving at, but are we going to be having enough raw gold in order to just simply sort that out? Able to get our 3-item tank online, able to get our 3-item carry here in form of a Vex online, and still managing to remain at 20 gold. Now, component heist with just delayed value, we cannot be affording that on two lives here. Radiant Rascal's Glove is actually not the worst of the options, since if we're going to be playing around these 5 costs, we would want to have some form of items on them. And we have to check, and the Tom Kench is able to give us Tom Kench too. That's quite strong for ourselves. Jeweled Lotus, combat option if we had the items. I believe that we are either looking for some of items or combat augment right now. And we just quickly giving a look here. The Vex itself does not exactly, not too excited for the Jeweled Lotus, and Zed did not seem to be either from his itemization. Obviously this is something, if the user loves IE, he's going to love Jeweled Lotus, and you're able to substitute it with another form of an item. Exclusive customization would have been also a decent option if we believe that we didn't have enough gold, but he's believing himself that we are first to level 9. We have so many 5 costs that we can potentially just try to 2-star one of them and stabilize our board. They're already picking up the Graves pair 2, Graves 2 we get. Okay, so I mean, if you have so many free rolls, you're eventually going to be hitting at least one of these 5 costs that you're able to do. Otherwise, we can see nicely here, getting his utility sorted out through the Nova. We have the Shred and the Sunder through the Nova, and we all have also a Kali in that's going to be providing the crit for ourselves right now. Interesting note, since we had these Z items sorted out, we're going to opting to itemize the Z instead of this Graves too. The Graves power is delayed in the sense that you're wanting to be going for the getting this upgrades here, going to go for the assault frame, and also we have the tables and data TFT now released for our Z upgrades, but the paths are enormous and we are still figuring out what are the best ones. I'm not going to be pulling them up right now, since that's a discussion to be had in a completely separate video if you wanted to. So now we have made our Graves the melee carry that he is, going to be providing a little bit more tankiness and survivability in that form of fashion, and it's most likely going to be the second unit we're going to itemizing here. Now, the Kale is offering us a Steadfast, but we have our items, tank items sorted even with the excess due to the Baron's Lair that's going to provide us that scaling, that's the extra combat power for our units. And with the Tom Kench too that we offered, actually that's why the Baron's Lair seems so appealing there. We saw that Tom Kench gave us this frontliner, and this is going to sort out the unit augment, sorts out our damage issues that we could potentially get. So having to settle for a rod at this point through the Thresh's boon. And we're going, since we're on last spot, we're offered a 5 cost here. I would believe either one of these would be quite appealing. Going to be picking up the Fiora here, since it gives us a pair, and we're able to get a little bit of an HP back for ourselves. That's also quite neat. Still opting to hold onto these Nova units simply to sort out our utility there. and Maokoi also providing a little bit more durability for as well. And at this point, it's now that we have some of these, couple of these 2-star 5 costs, and we have the Taumkench too, we should be quite stable for ourselves there. Now, going to be, now that since he's in assault frame, his actual path is also quite different from the ranged grave that you will be seeing. Simply going through all these options would be too much at the moment, as we also have to familiarize ourselves with. But I personally slot in this Graves unit whenever I get a chance to just simply try to figure out what the best paths could be and how to arrive to them. And obviously with the path selection, our itemization is going to be changing. For example, something with the Rage Blade, something that can proc double attacks or either provide something more on hit is going to be quite valuable, obviously. Able to complete the TG here, and just simply since we had these melee Graves, we are slotting in the GA for him. Do not want to be too greedy with the our boon, as we either... I would believe that now that we are pretty much 3 lives, the Fiora has also healed us a little bit. Have we slotted in the Fiora at the moment? No, we seem to have... I do not exactly see her on our board yet. No, since we haven't 2-star here, but we are going to be getting this extra HP we have. And that has allowed us to put us in a position where we can be slotting, going for the level 10 as well to fully cap out this board. And we can see the Zed is already trying to summoning his clones, able to get to this backline now. Getting through this mech is quite difficult for us since just the mech itself is quite tanky and had that Bramble Vest there. Now this Graves should be already a menace. Now that he has stacked full rounds, I believe this is our 4th upgrade that we got on him. Now he's going to be extremely strong. And really, this fully was enabled by the fact that we got that anima item that we reforged to get another Taumkench, sort out the 2 Taumkench 2 from the Oracle that we got, and now that we were able to find some of these 5 costs, we are able to start to steamroll the lobby completely. We can see that the rest of the lobby is going, this is becoming quite a top-heavy lobby in a sense, and we do get from Thresh offering another TG. Thresh is one of these legend gods that when you align yourself with, in a spot where you're able to just scale him up a little bit. If you're going to I would say if you're kind of sure that you're going to survive stage 5, he can provide you some with quite item advantage and obviously stat advantages as well. Level to 10 here and slotted in the Vex that we just tossed the TG on. And going to be looking to try to cap out this board, holding on to these extra copies for the Z, as seeing 3 stars, that would be quite interesting an option. Picking up a last AD item for our Graves as well. Now that we're pretty much 2-starred, I do not believe that anyone can really stand a chance. Now this mech board obviously provides us a little bit of trouble, but we also have the Morgana there now with the anti-heal that we have sorted out, and has some general AP that's going to provide the help as well. And we have the Jin in there, who's obviously also armor reducing. And we have secured ourselves a top 4 from this spot. This was already a top 3 as well. But we can see that we are still holding on to these Nova units, right? This is a nice thing, that the Nova package, you're not going to go on 5, right? You can simply have them be there to try out, to sort out any form of what you might be lacking in the board by sacrificing some of these slots. And generally they are going to be one of the best trays to be playing around for your 5-cost boards. You're able to simply sort out whatever you're needing, and if you find the items that sort out the Shred and Sunder, or you have the crit items, you're able to just toss them out for other higher quality units, or you keep them around, as Ryokomastery has done here, as we do not have that many obviously 4 and 5 costs as we did last set. And you're able to go for a little bit stronger of an itization in form of a raw damage. We'll be probably looking to either complete the 3rd item here for Morgana. Going to be going for some form of mana generation 4 here. Could also potentially remove this Shojin onto the Z as well. As the part of his Z survivability, why perhaps the PT is not that great in stats in him. If you're able to just get more clones, this guy is going to be staying on your board for quite a while. Now we're in the top 2, and our Thresh is also extremely scaled for ourselves. Going to be just slightly digging here. I do not believe we even really need to. But we're able to find a... We're only going to be giving up on the 2-star Fiora here. That's an interesting read. Simply valuing this, also the attack speed I guess that Caitlyn provides for ourselves to be quite valuable. as it's going to be scaling with the extra damage we're getting in later on in the combat. Going to getting another last rush boon. Oh no, we can see the Easter egg here. If you place the 2-star Shen and 2 stars, I'm not so sure with 2 stars, but if you have them placed together, they hand proc this Easter egg here, and also a nice showing here. Nice way to end this game right now. Now we see that a very high capped board actually coming out here with the 2-star Fiora on their side as well, but simply no match as we have this extreme unit power. We have all the utility sorted out for ourselves, and the Trash Hailing has hit that we are simply extremely strong, and this Graves is getting another upgrade that's just simply putting even more power into this unit. Now we can be looking, we're considering trying to, yeah, so we're going to be transitioning Shen into another tank build. Now obviously Shen generally magic attack champion, loves that Rage Blade and stuff, but you can sort him into another tank if you want, and an easy win to pick up from Raikou. Very, very well played, recognizing the spot, playing around your econ generators, using that anima to get an extra item for yourself as well in order to be able to fully stabilize the board, and making that read that this is another prismatic augment hitting in. We want something that's going to definitely spike our board, and since we have our front line sorted out, defending the damage is that issue in our spot, going for a damage combat option, and then rolling aggressively to field his units, but recognizing that the strength of the lobby is not that high, so he's able to greed, make it to level 10, and therefore cap this board around, as well as the Z unit popping off, showing what he's really capable of, and securing these wins for him. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope this will learn something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.